Okay, so I'm just going to show you in this video just some things that you can do to manipulate for your digital reboot. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm noticing that there's some like empty areas here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab like a pattern or a texture. And then I'll just refresh your memory on how to apply those with a blend mode. All right, so let's say I want to use this pattern right here. I can just right click, copy image. I can go ahead and paste that on. Control V as paste. Oh, my computer's going a little bit slow. Okay, there we go. It's pasted on. I'm going to Control T to change the size. So that's Control T. And I'm going to go ahead and put some pattern here. And then I'm going to duplicate that, Control J, Control T. Maybe I'll put a little bit here. Now I want some of those other colors to show through, so I'm actually going to use my blend mode. So I'm going to drop down from normal. So this is where you find your blend modes. Normal, and I'm going to do, in this case, multiply. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one, multiply. You can go ahead and go through, see if there's some other ones. Oh, I actually like this overlay as well. That's giving me like a little bit of transparency. So you know what, I'm going to switch this one. I'll keep that one on multiply. I'll go ahead and grab one more pattern. Okay, and then I'll paste that on there. And I'll use a different blend mode for this one. I'm just going to use multiply actually, and maybe I'll lower my opacity. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. All right, and now that I filled this in, I do want to go back and kind of fix up the color a little bit. So I'm going to go to my, let's see, levels is one easy way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up levels, and I'm just going to play with my contrast here. So I'm going to bring this slider a little bit to the left to give it a little bit more pop. You can also use brightness contrast, this one right here. I'm going to use hue saturation also and kind of take the red. So I'm going to click this little hand and say, hey, these reds, I want to make those pop a little bit. So I've opened the red channel, and I'm going to bump up the saturation on that a little bit. And so that's like a little bit more saturated. All right, and then now I think I want to use my liquify tool. So I'm going to make a composite layer so I can do some stuff. So to make the composite layer, I'm in the top of my stack, and then I'm hitting Shift, Control, Alt, and E, and that gives me a composite layer. And now I can play with this composite layer. I'm going to duplicate it because I always like to have a duplicate if I'm doing something really drastic. So that way I can either go back or I can do masking. So let's say I want to do my liquify. And I want to move some of this stuff around. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to spend too long on this. Maybe I'm just going to twist some of these things around. Maybe I'll push some of this around here. Shrink my brush. Okay, so I've done some liquefying to move those patterns around. And okay. All right, and maybe I want to do a little motion blur or something. So again, I'm going to duplicate my layer, Control J, so that way I have that other one to get back to. And I want to do filter blur. Maybe I want to do a motion blur. And all right, I'm going to do maybe about there. And now I don't want the entire thing blurred because it just looks blurry now and I can't see my picture. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of some of the blur. I'm going to knock down the opacity a little bit so I just have like a little bit of blur. And then again, I don't want it here on the face, and I want some of the patterns to be crisp. So I'm going to use a layer mask. So I'm applying a layer mask, and then I'm going to use my black paintbrush, just a regular old black paintbrush, soft, round, low opacity paintbrush. And I'm basically going to erase away part of this blurred layer to bring back into focus some portions of the image. So I want some of this blurred, but then some of this looking normal. So that way I have a blur some places, but not everywhere. And then if I ever want to make some of these areas blurred again, I will use the white brush. So maybe I want a little bit of blur here, a little here, but then I don't want the blur here. All right, so I've done some selective blurring. Great. All right, you could stop here. This could be an endpoint, but I'm gonna just show a few other things. So I'm gonna make another composite layer, and let's say I wanted to do something with my filters. So I'm gonna go up to Filter, Filter Gallery, and that opens, this up here. So maybe there's, some different filters I wanna do. Graphic pen, photocopy. You can also, by the way, combine these. So because I've created a composite layer, let me show you. Let's say I want like all these outlines. I'll say okay, and then I could change my blend mode to multiply, and you could see now I'm like sort of using the filter to give some outlines, but it's retaining some of that original image. Okay, I'm gonna make another composite layer, Shift Control Alt E, and let's say I wanna maybe do a duotone. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get my gradient map. And there's a black and white one here. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do just a black and white one, and I will show you how to do the glitch effect for those of you that were wondering. If I have a black and white, it's really easy to do the glitch effect. I'm going to make another composite layer, Shift Control Alt E. And you actually need to duplicate your composite layer. And then you're going to double click over here in this blank area. So I'm like right here to bring up my layer styles. And I'm gonna go to under blending options. I'm gonna turn off one of these channels. I'm gonna turn off the red, and nothing's changed. It looks exactly the same. But when I Control T, I'm gonna shift with my mouse just a little bit to the left, and you can see now I can get that blue red kind of glitch look. All right, and this is another one where you might want to not have the glitch on everything. Shift Control Alt E to make a composite layer. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn off these layers. And I'm going to just erase with a mask part of these areas because I don't want the glitch on here. And maybe I don't want it here. So I will just erase away the areas that I don't want the glitch, or where I want to fade the glitch a little bit. So I have no glitch here, but I have glitch here. I have glitch here, but no glitch here. Maybe I'll get rid of some of this glitch too, okay? And same thing, I'm gonna make a new composite layer. I'll show you how to make the duotone gradient map. Actually, hold on. Also for glitch effect, I didn't really finish that up. I usually like to also find, there's like different glitch pattern. You can find a glitch pattern or a glitch texture, and use a little bit of that on there. So here, maybe I'll use one of these. I don't want to spend forever. Sure, we'll use this one. Copy, just because it's right here. I'm going to paste it on, Control V, and then I can use my blend mode. Maybe soft light, overlay, lighter color, linear dodge, screen, etc. Duplicate if I want to, Control J. Control T, Control J, Control T. I've got another here. I can lower the opacity. I can also, if I want to, add a layer mask and fade that edge. I'm going to duplicate that again. Control J, Control T. There's some more. And I'm going to paint away some of these edges because I don't like that portion there, and I don't like that it looks like a really hard line. All right, and then let me show you how to do the duotone. So if you want to do a duotone, really easy way is to use the gradient map and to drop down. That's where I got the black and white one. Look in all these folders because there's some pre-built really nice ones so that come loaded into Photoshop. So you can just click around. You can see some of these are going to look better than others. If the colors look like they're backward, you can always hit this reverse right here. So you can see reverse. All right, so that's one way you can get the duotone, and then remember you can go back and see and change it if you want. I like this one right here. I'm happy with that. And what else? I think I just ran through a bunch of different things, and the demo's 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Okay, but that was liquefy, playing with colors, hue saturation. You know what? I'm going to go back and turn off a bunch of these layers because I do want to show one other thing is just playing with the hue saturation. You can do the hue saturation and just shift all the colors of your image. So that's another thing that you could do for this project as well. Okay, so lots of different things you can do.